Hi everybody, it's Mama Ivy. So last night, of course, was the full moon, and I did a letting go ritual. This is one I've been planning for a while. I just wasn't sure when I was gonna do it. I didn't quite feel ready, I guess, until last night. This letting go ritual involved letting go of some guilt and some sadness, which I'm still kind of reeling from that today. It's going to be a process, but I've started that process. I have some guilt and sadness still. It's better than it was before the ritual last night, but I'm still feeling it. Guilt and sadness over my mother's death. Let me explain that one. Most people would say, oh, you can't blame yourself, which, no, I can't, but to an extent, I don't blame myself for her death. What I blame myself for is things I said and the fact that I wasn't there. I left back in 2010, and before I left, I went to my mother. My father was abusive to our family. And I was already in an abusive situation already, and I was actually in a domestic violence shelter trying to get my mother to come with me because I knew how my dad was. Anyway, she didn't come with me. So when I decided I was going to leave the state, I tried one more time to get my mother to go to the shelter that I had been in. She said no. So I said, okay, well, that's your choice, but I'm leaving state. I'm not going to be able to come back. I'm not going to be able to help you. I'm not going to be able to come save you. I'd said it more harsh than that because I was angry and upset that she just would not. She wouldn't help herself, and it made me mad. It made me sad. It just got to me. So I said some choice words, but in a nutshell, I basically said, I'm not going to be here to help you. If something happens, you're not going to have anyone to come save you. My sister was already done and gone. She had no contact with them, and I had been trying to kind of stick around because I wanted to help my mother, and I was maybe still hoping that maybe my dad would change, which was stupid on my part. My cat's coming. Don't knock over the laptop. Come on, move. Do not get on the laptop. Anyway, so I left. Hello, Merlin. That was back in 2010. 2013, I decided to look up my mother. It'd been 3 years, and I said, I said some things I shouldn't have said. I should maybe look her up to see if I can contact her. So I looked her up, and I found that she had died in 2012, 2 years after I had left. I tried to find causes of death because in my mind I said, oh no, my dad had to have done something. That was what went through my head, is my dad got her. He finally went too far. I couldn't find anything. Merlin, stop it. I couldn't find anything. So I went and I got back in contact with my sister. And I don't know why it took me so long, but only within the last few months I decided to ask my sister exactly what happened. I don't know if I just didn't want to know, or if maybe I just wasn't ready to know, but I waited till recently. It's 2016, almost 2017. What happened? Well, thank the goddess, it was not because my dad killed her. My mother died of cancer, of basically the everything, according to my sister. Merlin! Sorry guys, my cat's trying to get love, and trying to love on the laptop, and being a turd. Anyway, she died of cancer, of the everything. She was a smoker, and she'd gotten lung cancer, and it spread everywhere. They also found a brain tumor, which they didn't say whether it preceded the other cancer or not. But she also had a brain tumor. She had died in her sleep. And I asked my sister where she was buried, because I wanted to visit her grave and talk to her and get some closure, because I felt guilty because I did not get the chance to tell her that I was sorry for the things that I had said or had done. And my cat is coming back again. Well, more bad news for me. My sister had told me that my mother wasn't buried anywhere. She had donated her body to science. So, and yes, I'm trying not to cry. I'm still reeling from last night. My cat is trying to attack me now. Okay. So yeah, I'm still reeling, and I'm trying not to cry while I'm making this video, but found out my mother wasn't buried. She donated her body to science, which is great. That's great. But then I couldn't go through with my plan to get my closure. And I had people telling me, your mother knows, your mother knows. She might know. Yes, she might have known how I felt. She might know that she might have known that I was sorry, but having that knowledge wasn't enough. I needed to do something. I needed to do something for myself to gain that closure. So I had a plan to do this letting go ritual. And I wrote the letter that I was going to incorporate into this ritual. Basically what I did was I wrote the letter. And that was about a month ago I wrote the letter. It's been sitting on the altar for a while. And during this letting go ritual, I was going to read the letter out loud and burn it and let the ashes go in the wind. which I did that last night. Could I almost couldn't read the letter last night because I was crying so hard. And I felt all these emotions. And today I'm still feeling them, which is why I look like crap. I'm still in my PJs. I've been in my PJs all day. I haven't done anything today. This is really the first thing I've done today. Yes, I'm still reeling from the emotions. Yes, I'm still feeling the emotions. When we do these sort of rituals, these letting go rituals, these getting rid of negativity rituals and things of that nature, we have to be mindful that it's not a quick fix. A lot of people will say, well, I need a spell for this, and they expect it to happen right away. There are still some more seasoned, for lack of a better term, which is, more seasoned, I don't know how else to put it, witches, pagans who still think or feel that certain spells or rituals will happen right away. And some of those that I've talked to have said, well, now that you've done this ritual, now you feel better, right? Now you're done. Now you don't have to feel these things anymore. No. Because that's not how it works. I did the ritual as part of a very long process. I knew what I was getting myself into. That's why I waited so long, because I wasn't sure I was ready to feel everything again, because I just sort of shoved it all down so it wouldn't get in the way of things, I guess. I'm trying really hard not to cry on camera. I shoved these things down because I needed to go through life. I needed to take care of my son. I needed to get school in gear. I have all these things that I need to do. And I didn't want these gunked up emotions, this guilt, this sadness, this anger, everything that I feel concerning my mother's death to get in the way. Writing the letter helped. And yes, the ritual helped me to get some of it out as well. And talking about it here is also helping. Like I said, this is going to be a long process. This was definitely not a quick fix. This is going to be a long process. On top of that, I'm seeing a counselor. I'm seeing a therapist. Because I have anxiety and PTSD, and part of it has to do with what I'm feeling right now. She's been asking me, I told her what I was going to do with this letter that I wrote my mother, and she, the last few times I've seen her, she's asked, did you do this ritual you were going to do? And I kept saying, not yet, not yet, not yet. And she actually asked me, why haven't you done it yet? Are you having trouble finding the time? I said, no, I can make time. Haven't you done it yet? And I couldn't answer her at that point. I didn't know why I couldn't do it. Thinking on it, I just wasn't ready. I didn't want things to get so out of hand that I couldn't deal with everything else that was going on in the here and now. I didn't want the past to affect the present and therefore affect the future. I didn't want this snowball effect, which in effect started its own different snowball effect. But last night, even though I feel the sadness, and I still feel the guilt, and I still feel the anger, last night, with the full moon, and my cleansing bath afterwards, I had this weight that is not there anymore. Yes, I still feel I feel some guilt still, because I do feel bad that I said these things. But now, I don't feel like it's affecting me as bad as it was before. I feel so much better. I'm not 100%, and I may never be 100% over the situation, but I feel like I can handle it better now than I could have a few years ago. Yesterday I stayed in my PJs and I didn't do anything, really. But I think I just needed the day to just not do anything. I needed today to just sit around and do nothing. Nothing productive. I shouldn't say nothing, because obviously I did some things. I mean, I watched TV and took care of my son. I played with him. I did things with him. I talked to people. I mean, I did things. I just didn't do anything highly productive like I normally do, which I should have done because I have a ton of schoolwork. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. If anyone out there that follows me, or if you know somebody who's going through a hard time with their emotions, don't just sit there and tell them that it's going to be okay. I mean, yes, we all know that eventually it will be okay. But hearing that constantly, it doesn't feel good, because you already know, we know this. Those of us who are feeling these things, we know that it'll get better. We know that it will. How we're feeling isn't going to change what happened. But we need to feel these things, because if we don't feel them, they're going to affect us in negative ways. Like, I was having major anxiety attacks for what I thought was no reason. When I really thought about it, it was because I was feeling these things. Well, actually, I wasn't feeling them, because, like I said, I was shoving them down instead of feeling them like I should have. Being told we shouldn't feel this or we shouldn't feel that, that doesn't help us, because we do need to feel them. If we don't feel them, it's going to affect us mentally, physically, emotionally. It's going to affect us. Everybody has different ways of dealing with their emotions. And if there's anybody out there that says, Well, my way of dealing with my emotions is just shoving them down. Let me tell you, it's gonna affect you. It affected me. It made me eat more. It made me gain more weight. I am currently trying to lose weight. I've always been big, but with my emotions as bad as they've been, as shoved down as they've been, on top of already being overweight and already having other issues, my back with the degenerative disc disease. On top of that, I have a problem with emotional eating. So it affected me that way. I was eating more junk. I was eating, even if I was eating healthier foods, I was just eating and eating and eating and eating. And I shouldn't have done that. I should not have done that, in the words of Hagrid. I should not have done that. I am learning to not do that. And I've actually lost about 3 pounds in the last couple months. Yay, me! Because I'm learning to deal with my emotions in a more productive manner. Whether it's making the YouTube videos about how I feel, or doing a ritual to help me get things out. Excuse me. That's how I've learned to deal with it. To do something about it. Shoving it down isn't really doing something about it. If you're one of these people like me who shoves it down, take it from somebody who has been shoving down a lot of emotion for many, many years. Stop shoving it down, because it's not going to help you in the long run. What's going to happen is it builds and it builds and it builds until it goes boom. And when it goes boom, you don't know what's going to happen. You might go into a heap on the floor and cry your eyes out. You might lash out at somebody you love. You might... There's so much that could happen with that. So that's the emotional part of it. And then the physical part, of course, like I said, if you're like me and you tend to be an emotional eater, you're going to gain a bunch of weight, and then you're going to have to eventually lose it all. That weight gain is going to cause other problems. Me, like I said, I've been heavy all my life, and it has taken its toll on my back. I have degenerative disc disease. I have a slightly curved spine. I have arthritis. I have quite a few back problems. And that comes from being overweight, which comes from not eating healthy enough, and also the emotional eating, because I'm shoving everything down. I'm not feeling it. So to make up for not feeling it, I'm going to eat this to make myself feel better. When really all I'm doing is shoving it down even further. If you're not one of these people like myself who needs to work on their emotional problems, what's going on, what's happened in the past, if you're not one of these people but you know somebody who is, feel free to show them this video. But other than that, I encourage you to encourage them. Encourage them to feel rather than bottle up things. And you may say, well, then they'll get mad at me. Good. Let them get mad. Because if they get mad, they're showing an emotion, and that's going to set other emotions to come up. It'll have an escalator effect. The anger will come up first, and then they'll maybe start crying, and then it'll just be this escalator with tons and tons of emotions coming up. And they might be tired afterwards. They might feel exhausted for a couple days. But in the long run, their body might be exhausted from feeling everything that they felt in that moment. But their body is going to feel so much better once it recovers. Right now, I'm in the recovering. I'm still feeling, but I'm also recovering at the same time. I'm in that in-between merging stage where, yes, I'm still feeling what I'm feeling, but my body is starting to recover. Like I said, I did nothing today, and there's a reason for that. I felt tired. Didn't help that I was up at 2:30 with my son, and he went back to bed with Daddy, and I was awake. I did end up taking a long nap, but I still felt tired afterwards. And I know it's because of the emotional doom that's going on with me. Everything that's coming up. So, again, if you're like me and you're bottling something up and you're feeling guilty and you're feeling sad, you're feeling angry, whatever you're feeling, don't bottle it up. Don't try to shove it down with food or alcohol or drugs or whatever you happen to be using to not feel. Let yourself feel it. I know everyone deals with things differently, but if, like I said, and it's been scientifically proven, if you're holding stuff in, it hurts you. It hurts you physically. It hurts you mentally. And it can even hurt you spiritually. Because you don't know who's here for me, is what you start to think. And I was thinking that for a very long time. So, holding it in doesn't help. It might feel like it does, but in the long run, it's not helping. And to those of you who maybe know somebody who's going through a situation like that where they're just holding things in, support them. Don't just say, oh, it's going to be okay. Try and get them to talk about it. Try to get them to let things out. Even if it's little by little. It's not necessarily all going to come up at once. It might for some, others they might start to let things out slowly. Some people have more control. Some people, when it comes out all at once, like it did for me, like it is doing for me. Help them feel. Be supportive. Don't tell them, oh, now that you've done such and such, now you can get over it, or now you can heal. Well, yeah, but what about feeling what I need to feel? Or what about them feeling what they need to feel in order to do that healing? Because if they're not letting themselves feel anything, then they're not healing. That healing is not going to start until the feelings start to come out. That is my story. This is a very long video and I apologize, but I had to say it because it's a worthwhile message. I hope everyone has a blessed evening. And whatever you're feeling right now, I hope that you feel it to the fullest so that you can feel happy. Whether it be right in this moment that you feel happy, or so that later on you can start to feel happy again and feel at peace.